My name's Dave DeBoe, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubois. And have you ever wondered whether or not you have what it takes to start a business at the young age of 22, 23, 24? You know, historically, maybe that isn't so young, but these days it seems that the age has been pushed back. You know, people don't expect too much from young people. And I think that gives you the opportunity to really break it wide open and, spend that early time really focused on your business and growing your business. And today, my guest, Tyler Carlisle, has really made an impact in the wholesaling game. Tyler, I really appreciate you joining us. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So there's a couple of things we're going to talk about. You're also, I believe you said you're also a real estate agent.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So how does wholesaling and being a real estate agent play hand in hand for you and your business?
You know, it's very unique. We have created a very strategic relationship with my broker. A lot of brokerages won't let you do it, actually, and you don't want to go into a brokerage and not be fully transparent about what you're going to be doing. So I work with a smaller brokerage. She's also a lawyer, so she's really able to help us walk that fine line, because you are walking a fine line, and as an agent you have a fiduciary duty, right, to your clients. So you really need to make sure that they know that you aren't representing them as an agent, and that's really where things can get gray. But it gives you the opportunity to what we call double dip, right? And we just closed on one a few towns over. I wrote the offer for my corporation, and we closed on it. We wholesaled it. We made the assignment fee. It was disclosed that we had ownership interest in the purchasing entity, and then I also got the agent commission. So opportunities like that just aren't possible if you're not an agent. I will say that agency does not cross state lines. So if you are an agent in California like I am, and we're wholesaling in Georgia, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you at all. The biggest thing I will say is if you are an agent, you are going to be expected to use your state's realtor forms. So you can't use just a contract that you got offline from somebody, and you have to use legit forms, and that does take a bit of learning and navigating and understanding what goes on in those forms. But at the end of the day, as long if you're trying to wholesale and you have that assignment clause in there, which is standard, it typically doesn't really trip anyone up.
Awesome. So why wholesaling? Why not just continue being a real estate agent and grow that and drive a Lexus around and make sure it's a convertible and do those walkthrough videos and stand with the just sold sign? Like, why not just do that?
There's one word: scalability. I think that with wholesaling, you can really take it to a level that is hard. It's difficult to take agency to that level, and you can make a lot of money being an agent for sure. I mean, there's people who probably make more than wholesalers being agents, but it's, as an agent, you also have to kind of look at your market, because a lot of these markets, the homes are 50 grand, 100 grand, and you're not going to make a ton of money as an agent in a market like
What's
that.
What's the commission on that for an agent who sells a 50 grand home?
I mean, when it goes that low, for me, I just do a flat fee. I don't do a percentage. So
but I'll always see like a 6 or 7% commission on something that low, but then as the price goes up, the commission goes down. So it's certainly I think that's one thing that I always talk about with people who are getting into real estate is that let's say you want to be like a top 1% musician. There's not that many, and to make that money you got to be like in the top elite. But even if you're like just doing an average job in real estate, you can make a pretty decent living without being necessarily a top 1% performer. You just have to like take a piece of the action, because the action is so much so that you don't have to be exceptional to have an exceptional income. So,
Right. And I think another leg as to why wholesale over just being an agent is we have a deal that it's been kind of dragged out because we have to do this weird thing. It's called a Hegstad affidavit. A trust wasn't created properly. But
mm,
so we're going through that. But the wholesale that the fee that we're gonna get essentially is gonna be roughly 34 grand. And I mean
mhm.
that's over $1 million listing. So to create large spreads and large income, it's just wholesaling was the quicker path for us.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you get to take a piece of the action in a different way. You say like, look,
Right.
this is the resellable bottom line and for the service provided. And people are like, oh, well, why does a wholesaler make 34,000? And I always would say, I say, look, you find the buyer then, because I did
Right.
all the work to build that list and I bring the buyer and I solve the problem. And how much I make uh, on a wholesale is ultimately inconsequential to the solution of I just helped you sell your house. You were happy with the number that I gave you, whether it was like
Hmm.
120 or 100, and I managed to move it to someone for 130 because I know them. And people are like, well,
Right.
I could have sold it for 130. Sure, if you knew that person, that
Right.
one person in the market who is really dying for that type of property, you know? So there's a lot of arguments to and for. I've heard some rumors about uh wholesalers having to become licensed, but I don't see
Yeah.
that. Maybe, who
the
knows? I
the,
mean, the
the thing
future's
that's weird
uncertain.
about that is even a standard real estate contract has an assignment clause because I mean if an entity's closing on a property and then that business wants to close in a different entity or something, there always is going to have to be an assignment clause. So to I'm not sure if you can mess with the monetary compensation, and I'm not really sure how they do it, but the act of assigning a property to another entity or person that's I don't see that ever going away.
Yeah, you can't really stop the free market. It'll just like every time they try to do something about it, they just find another way around it. And now all of a sudden they're setting up an
Right,
LLC to put the house in it for a temporary holding, and then they sell the LLC. Like there's always a way to move a property.
right.
So I'm not too worried about it. But what do you think the future holds for your business? Tell us about the future and where it's going for you and your team.
So 2024, we really feel that we are primed to grow in a massive way because we've been in business full time for about 6 months now. So we
Yeah.
we left our W-2 jobs and went full time in on this wholesaling and real estate thing. So that 6 month period, there were the first couple months we were kind of learning how things roll, what typical issues you're going to face, just
Mm-hmm.
going through the growing pains, right, of
Yeah.
a new business. And we feel that of course, there's always going to be more to learn, but we've gotten to a point where the basics are down, the systems are
Mm-hmm.
built, the CRM's built out, our marketing channels that work have been established, and we are just ready to dump gasoline on the fire and let it explode. So, really, it's going into a few new markets, working strategically with cash buyers that are potentially willing to pay for the marketing and
Mm-hmm.
in exchange for lower assignments or little things like that to just essentially grow a bigger umbrella of outreach because
Yeah.
wholesaling is a numbers game. You can't call 10, 20, 50 people and expect to get a deal. You might get lucky. Like, don't get me wrong. You
Could
might
be your first
absolutely get,
call.
it could be your first call. Who knows, but the odds of that happening is very unlikely. And it's a numbers game. You have to be doing this on a decent scale if you want to make that large income. So really where I see us going is just entering into some new markets, um, going outside of California, going more into Georgia because we don't have all the disclosures, all the car forms,
Mm-hmm.
all the
Mm-hmm.
agency stuff that we have to deal with, and the transactions are just going to be so much simpler. So, where we're going is we're going into new markets and just going to continue pouring fuel on the fire.
Well, and the other thing that was really surprising because I was down in Florida a couple of weeks ago and we were doing like population analysis. I was like, well, how many people really live out here? And it's like, okay. And then we were driving in Miami and I'm like, okay, we're on like 7 lanes going each way on the interstate. How many people live in Miami? It's like 13
Right.
million. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, how many people live in Atlanta? Because people don't really like think about that. And I think it's something like 9 or 10 million people in that Atlanta metro.
Yeah.
So, and people don't really like think about that. Like, let's say you had to do 100 deals. Would you rather
hmm
do 100 deals in like a million person market, or how about a 10 million person? Like, what are the odds you're going to have a successful run in a 10
Right.
million person market? There's just so many houses, like so
For
many houses.
for us, what we really found has worked best for us and where we've gotten the most consistent lead flow is finding a place like Atlanta and then going 30, 45 minutes
Mm-hmm.
outside of it. And it's those little cities where the investor is going to be willing to travel out there. If you get like an hour and a half away, then it's like, eh. But if you're, within 30 or 45 minutes, a lot of people are just going to be texting in the metro, and there's going to be a lot less competition out there, but it's the same thing. And the investors are
Yeah,
going to
and
be willing to buy. So,
you can drive on, there's great highways and great infrastructure out there. Like there's no reason 30 minutes, people spend more than 30 minutes driving to work in Atlanta.
oh,
So like
yeah.
to go to a flip that's just 30 minutes to, north or east or south or west, it's not going to change whether or not it's a deal, and money's
Yeah, it's
made.
arbitrary.
Well, I always say like flipping or wholesaling or even investment real estate is all like trench warfare, and the cusp of the trench is right
Yeah,
where the money's made, like where it's just unbearable, but just bearable. Like an investor will travel and will take that deal on as long as you're not buying actually in the warfare of the whole area.
right.
So um I liked your strategy. We won't dive into it too much because we don't want to give it away, but what are you finding to be effective as far as when you're deal hunting with these? Because I'm assuming with your out of market stuff, you're doing pay per click or you're doing like voicemail drops or whatever it is. What do you see trending that, if you could give one tip to someone who's thinking about getting into it, what would you give? What advice would you give to them?
Well, I think one of the major um, misnomers about this industry is that you can have zero, in my opinion, is that you can have $0 and get rich wholesaling. You can start that way. You can start that way. You can drive for dollars. You can do stuff, but
Yeah, and your
you're
knuckles
really gonna,
bare knocking on doors, and
yeah.
you
I
can
mean,
do it.
you're gonna get deals, but to you're going to need to spend money to market. This is a sales and marketing business. That's what it is. And you're
Yeah.
going to need to spend the money to market. So what's been working for us is we started with a couple VAs. I'll tell you, if you get VAs, you got to manage them well. That was the toughest part for us, and we actually ended up kind of going away from that because of how difficult it was, and we didn't have the systems built out to manage
Yeah.
them. And we've really honed in on SMS. SMS has been huge for us, and anyone doing SMS right now, listening to this, knows that there's what's called a 10 DLC registration. So
Yeah.
that essentially is where your company is approved by the cell phone carriers to
To not be
text
spamming
market.
people.
Exactly. And they came out with a lot of regulations recently, changing the words you can use, the just a bunch of stuff, making it
Mm-hmm.
more difficult for
Yeah.
people like us to market because a lot of people
Even
were
just
getting
to get
scammed.
registered, I've done some
Yeah,
SMS marketing, and it can take like a week just to get approved, and they want you to do this and that and the other. So I'm a huge believer that like the number of barricades in front of something is usually a direction to go to, because how many
right.
people are going to quit before they jump through all those hoops, right?
Right. So it's really we've honed in on SMS, and we're actually in this weird bridge stage right now. We are speaking with this company that's kind of on the verge of what I believe is the next big thing in AI,
Mm,
and they've built out these bots, and we're a little hesitant right now, but we're learning more. And it's SMS still, that's what it is, but you
mm-hmm.
have a bot. It's like a digital employee is what they call
Yeah,
it, and
conversational bot, something like that.
exactly, and the whole goal of it is to funnel it into just setting an appointment. So when that appointment is set, essentially you are creating an inbound lead from an outbound marketing channel, because for them to set that appointment, they have to fill out this little form, and then you call them. And the big thing about this is inbound leads are always going to cost more than outbound leads because
Yeah.
they're simply better. If
Mm-hmm.
someone goes through the time to fill out a form online that they want to sell their house, and then you pick up the phone and call them, You
There's
are
a
the
little
one
bit
that
more, yeah. There's a little more motivation there.
exactly, and it's you're calling as the problem solver. They
Mm,
can't use the objection of you called me.
hmm.
You know, because they contacted you, you called them, but they contacted you, and now you called them. It's not you reached out to me. What do you want? You know, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
objection is obsolete. Bandit signs have been great for us. I think, any if you got low capital, I would recommend starting with bandit signs. We've gotten 3 deals from bandit signs, and those are so
Yeah,
cheap. I mean,
they seem to go in seasons too. It's like
yeah,
all of a sudden they're hitting now, everyone's putting them up and then they don't hit anymore. And then the city ggets on them because they're all over the place and they rip them all down and then no one does
right,
them for a while. And then you put them like there's like a it's like a seasonal harvest of the
yeah,
bandit signs, it's up and down. Or the weather, if it's really windy and they're all blowing off, people are like, oh, I'm not gonna go and put them back up. They just
right.
keep getting blown away, or old man
Pro tip
neighborhood comes and takes
pro
them
tip for
down.
the bandit signs: if you don't have a business phone number or something like that, go, even if you do, actually go onto the code enforcement website, get every single code enforcement officer phone number, put it in your contacts, so then when they call you, you know that they're not actually trying to buy a house, and you know
Mm,
that it's code enforcement calling you, because they will try and hit you with a fine, and they'll try and say
yeah, yeah.
this is illegal. So just be, if you do that, you'll be prepared when they do call.
Yeah, I always just, one thing that's interesting about that, and I don't know if it's like that where you guys are, but there's a right to resolve. So like when they
Hmm.
call you and they say, "Oh, you got your sign," and it's and say, I will take them down in accordance with the local bylaw, and then
Mm,
there's nothing because you have a right to resolve. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll go and take them down
interesting.
before they can do that. And usually the right to resolve is enough for them to like move on with their day, or they'll just
Good
go
to
and
know.
take them down. And it's like a piece of mail. You just lose it in the wind, right? It's gone, just
Yeah,
like your
it's
sign's gone.
yeah, like a
two
dollar
bucks
twenty
a
five
sign or
cents lost.
whatever it
Yeah.
is. So um with all the stuff that you're doing, uh what's the because like the AI thing's interesting in that used
Hmm.
to be a VA's job, right? The VA would be there
Right.
texting. But what I really like about AI, I'm a huge fan, is that it has no feelings, right?
Right.
You can't hurt an AI's feelings. Get lost, don't message me back, and the AI will be like, "Oh, sorry to bother you," and it'll be all nice
Right.
about it. Whereas like the human nature is to like, this person's like jumping down my throat, and it's like I can't remember what the quote was, but it's like human emotions are usually the difference between consistent activity and inconsistent activity. Like being down on yourself. Oh, I'm not making any calls today. But you never hear the
Hmm.
AI be like, I am too sad to make calls today. It's like, no, you're not.
It's just a
Just does
machine.
it.
Yeah, it just does it
Well,
regardless.
I said that to an investor the other day. I said, be like the AI and just do. Like
Right.
you never hear it complaining about the work. It just spits out the thing immediately.
Yeah, I
So,
think reject real quick. Rejection goes in tiers. Door to door sales is the hardest.
yep.
Cold calling is second hardest. Getting rejected over a text, it's like, that was, sometimes they can say some mean things and you're like, oh dang. But it's really, door to doors is the hardest. I mean, going door knocking is
Well, it's kind of like dating too. You look at it and you say, okay, getting rejected at the bar standing there, that's the hardest. Getting rejected
right.
via email, it's like, okay, or
Yeah.
some dating website, you're like, okay,
Right.
whatever. But that intimacy thing really does, like I've done some decent stuff door to door.
Hmm.
Because it collapses the whole time frame, right? You don't have to do all that, like, oh, send a letter, get a call, set a meeting, talk to them, walk it
For
around.
sure.
You're already there. You're like, can I come in? They're like, sure. And now you're in the house
Yeah.
and collapsed it all and it's free. So if you got the
Yeah.
for the game, then and you're broke because it's time or money, right? And you're realizing that as a wholesaler is like either you have
Yeah.
the money and you buy someone else's time, or you have tons of time and you're broke. So go and spend it.
And the awesome part about this industry and this business is one deal can do it for you. So, and every deal is not a home run. I want to harp on that because we've
Yeah,
had
it could
a
be a grand,
$3,900.
$500. I've done
Yeah,
$100 assignments, like
yeah.
$100.
And not every deal is 40, 50 grand, but they are there and they will come. You just have to stay consistent.
One a
Consistency
year.
trumps all. And yeah,
Yeah.
you hit big on one, and then okay, now you got the money to do some marketing. So yeah.
Yeah, unless you take it to Vegas and just blow it all. You're like, I just hit a 50K wholesale. Now you're on the next plane to Los. I'm gonna put
Yeah,
it all on red, and you're back the next day. What happened? No, I was black, so I lost it
yeah.
all in the blaze of glory. Now, um, with wholesaling and the marketing you're doing, you're gonna have to start bringing more people on.
Right. So that's really one of the biggest things about the AI that we're like, wow, this could be amazing because for the SMS system we're using is called launch control. So for launch control, we're coming January, we're going to be sending about 75,000 texts a month. And that's
Mhm.
a lot of texts. And especially when we're going, because we're going on the appointments, we're out in the streets doing stuff, we're, doing all the contracts. We don't have anyone else on our team. It's my business partner and I. And
Yeah,
to manage that, because the speed to lead, that's important. When you're cold calling or you're texting
yeah,
and a lead comes through, you need to be there to contact them. And if I think I forget the time frame, but if a lead doesn't get contacted for 30 minutes after it comes in, the success rate of that turning into an actual appointment or deal pitfalls. It
yeah.
changes dramatically. So we are really excited about the AI potentially helping us not have to get a VA for that, and because that's going to save us on cost. But at this point, it's just us two, and we're managing it well enough. But you're right. Eventually, we would like to have an acquisitions department, a disposition department, a lead manager. First person we're going to hire eventually is going to be a lead manager. We can continue doing the acquisitions and the dispositions. Um, that's good enough for us. When we get a property, we just get prop stream, pull cash buyers list, and cold call. If we don't know anyone already that wants it, it really doesn't take that much time. It just takes
Mm,
knowing exactly what you're going to do when the
hmm.
time comes.
Yeah, systems
Luck
in
is when
place.
opportunity meets preparation. I think that's how it goes. It's something like that, and it's nothing is lucky in this business. It's either you did it, you pulled the list, you called that list, or you texted that list, and if you can't dispo a deal, either your numbers are off or you just didn't call enough cash buyers because there's someone
Hmm.
who wants that deal. The numbers make the deal, and if no one wants your deal, then your numbers are off.
Yeah, it's not a deal.
It's simple.
It's
Yeah,
just not a
it's black
deal.
or white. So yeah,
Yeah, lender hesitation is a big one. Well, it's interesting, that I don't know if you read the Bible or whatever, but the other day I was reading it and it said, all good and bad come from God, but nothing is certain and everything is up to chance. The only thing that is certain is that you can be in the right place at the right time. And then I started thinking, okay, well, we don't control time. So what do we control? Whether we're in the right place. And how do we be in the right place? By doing. We have to do. We have to be standing. We got to be calling. If you're not in the right place, change the place you're at. But time, we're out of control and everything's up to chance. So
right.
make more calls. Activity is the bottom line. Consistency is the bottom line when it comes to wholesaling. So, you've been in the game for a little bit now. How many
Mm-hmm.
years?
Well, we've been buying property for a few years now, but
Hmm.
full time wholesaling
This
about
year.
6 months on January 1st. About so.
Yeah, awesome. So just keep plugging away at it, and it all comes in seasons. And it's I like talking to young guys such as yourself because it goes to show, people can be effective in this business right out the gate. Some people
Right,
think, oh, I'll do real estate when I get older. Okay, how about now? Let's
right.
let's go.
Is it going to be I'll do it tomorrow, or is it going to be I'll do it today? And that's really a mindset switch that a lot of people have to um, change because I'll do it tomorrow turns into I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month. And if you don't just do it now, even the little minute things of life, the dishes or cleaning your room, just do it now. If you just do it
Hmm.
now, the reality is it's not going to take that much time. And it's the same with business. Or do you want to start that business? And sometimes, maybe you're not in the financial position to start that business. We got bills, we got things that
Hmm.
need to be taken care of. But if you are in that financial position and you have a game plan and you are a closer and you are willing to execute and put the work in that it takes to execute, start the business. But really look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I willing to take that leap and then accept all the stress and the realities of owning a business that come with it? Because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. They say
No.
that the how you measure how successful a man or a woman is going to be is how much stress can they manage?
Yeah.
Because real estate wholesaling agency, it's stressful. A lot can go wrong in the deal. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we were expecting to have this commission from that $34,000 check. We were expecting that on the 1st of December. And
Mm.
now we're going through an affidavit, using our lawyer, and it's just things
Yeah.
can go wrong. Things get pushed back. So really, I think just you got to be honest with yourself. Are you willing to take that leap? Are you willing to put in the work that it takes? And if you are, do it. There shouldn't be anything stopping you. And if you are making checks, don't blow them. The reason we've gotten to this point is being financially literate. You have to be a good money manager in business and in life if you want to scale on any level. You
Yeah. Take a
have to
piece,
be
leave the rest in the business,
right.
bootstrap it, stay under 50K a year, and just like,
Right.
do you really need to that thing, that new car, that new thing? Probably not.
No.
The more people I hear that have like gotten to that retirement position or that financial freedom position, usually there's a baseline of frugality in there that, being
Right.
frugal what allowed them to reinvest and scale faster than the person who like immediately, because you can certainly with wholesaling become a little bit like dived into lifestyle and be like, oh well, I just hit a lick of 30K, I guess I'm gonna go to Mexico or something and like
Right.
spend five. It's like, okay, chill, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Relax. Try and make another
Like
30,
maybe you're gonna need that five next month when
Yeah.
things don't close, so like just
Because
slow
this
down.
business
And
has a long cash conversion cycle.
it
In
can, yeah,
some
or quick, you could get it
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. It really could be a week, or it could you could work a lead for 8 months, and that's how long it takes. So
Yeah.
understanding that the money's in the follow up, have your systems dialed in, and yeah, it's an amazing business. And buy property with checks that you make. That's the best piece of advice I can give.
Yeah, otherwise it's just gonna like get spent on trips to Mexico. So
Exactly.
if people want to connect with you, they want to either get on your buyers list, they want to see about your getting your help to find them properties in different parts of the United States. How do they connect to you? How do they find you? What should they do?
Yeah, so the company that we have is Bidwell Home Buyers. You can hit me up on Instagram at Ty Invest. That's TYINVESTS You could shoot me an email, Tyler at powerwestproperties.com. And yeah, anyone that reaches out, I'd be happy to go over anything real estate and just chat real estate. I love to talk about it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I really appreciate being on the show. I love it when wholesalers show up because I'm a wholesaler, so I love shooting,
Yes, sir.
shooting talking about the action out there. So I really appreciate you stopping by, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.